Hello there, friends. This is CD Mangaka doing a broader read-through of some of the rule sets and things that we all should be aware of for the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour. Some of this I will address to my Colorado Dragon Ball Fighter scene that I help manage and run back home. And this is also going to be just out there for the general YouTube populace. For us to sort of be aware of a couple of weird things. I'm going to try and let a couple other TOs know, in case they haven't read the rule set already. I'm pretty sure they are all on top of their game, but it's always good to check in on the homies all around the world. Without further ado, let's get into the rule set that you can find on the Dragon Ball FighterZ League Tour. You go to League Tour page, there's this wonderful little hyperlink right here for the PDF of this file. I'm going to kind of skim through the first little bit of this. This defines a bunch of the terms and things like that. Within it. Match means a competition between two players. Match set is going to be the entire match, the set of 3 games, right? They break down the regions. There's North America West, right? This is where you can kind of find if you live in this region where you should be registering for. For example, Colorado is North America West, etc., etc. So, a bunch of things. They can amend the rules, right? There's a couple of common things. There's a big note on minor players, and this is actually something I am going to address to Young Nexus, because I know that they are a young lad. So, with Young Nexus, any minors under the age of 16 years old participating in a tournament event must submit a duly completed parental authorization signed by a legal guardian, as well as a copy of an official identity document of both the legal guardian and the minor. Parental authorization can be downloaded from the following link. I'm going to specifically at you in the Discord just so that you do not miss this one. Now, tournament rules and format. Everything is kind of much what we're used to. It's double elimination. There's a losers bracket. It's best of 3s up until finals, where the losers, winners, and grand finals are all best of 5. At the start of the match, some, just simple things. You both pick which side you sit on. Left side corresponds to player 1. Right side corresponds to player 2. If you can't agree, rock, paper, scissors, right? The stage is selected at random. I guess we should just, start using random pick, but, yeah, that is like official rule set. I'd rather not mess with it. You kind of can just, pick a stage. It doesn't matter a whole lot in this game. There are some nuances to the stage picks, but I guess they just want us to do random. Winners are locked into your characters and stuff. We're all used to this. Single matches, loser's choice. You can either go back, rematch with the characters, go back to character select, change up your team, whatever. Round, you just set it to round 1. Time limit 300 seconds. Stage is random. Use a game version determined by the organizer, right? Now, player options. This is where it gets a little interesting for us. First off, there's a blind pick option where I doubt anyone's going to use this rule, but you can request that both players blindly pick their team. So what you would do is that you would tell the TO what team you're picking. And then if you do not pick the team that you told the TO that you're going to pick, you forfeit that round. You forfeit that game. So this is like so that you don't have to worry about somebody counterpicking you, I guess. But in Dragon Ball FighterZ, it really isn't a big deal. There really isn't like a whole lot to go with matchup stuff like that. But if you want to request this rule, you can. This is just something to be aware of. Maybe it will come up for some people in some places, but that's just sort of what it is. Draws. In case there is a double KO knockout, you just play the game again. You just play it again. It doesn't count. No. Grand finals, it's everything that we say. Missing players must be present at the call time for a match set. Players are not present and ready to play within 10 minutes. Forfeit the match set. So, that is going to be our DQ timer, is 10 minutes. So we're going to be a little strict with this for any of our Tenkaichi events that happen in there. Match disruptions. This is important stuff, all right? Because, namely for the Colorado locals that I run, we're going to be following this parameter for any of our events that qualify as a Tenkaichi event. Match disruptions. If a player intentionally or accidentally causes a pause in a match, whether by pressing the options button or by experiencing a controller disconnection, the player that caused the pause will forfeit the current round of the match. Once we have a Tenkaichi event, my friends, this is what it's going to be. We're usually really lenient about this at locals. It's a local. We want good practice. But if our locals are going to be giving us points for the Tenkaichi World Qualifying event, this is what we're going to have to be doing just so that we are following the rule set given. The locals are going to be a little more prestigious because we are going to be able to apply and qualify for points for this World Tour. We have to follow these rules. If a match disruption occurs that is out of the control of the players of the match set, such as the action of another player's undesynced controller or a game software crash or console hardware failure, making players unable to continue a match, the tournament organizer staff member shall order the players to restart the match. Now note that the match is not the match set. The match is just the game. So if a game gets interrupted, we just replay the game. We just go back and replay the game. We don't continue it, you just restart it. That's how it is. That's what it's going to be. Coaching. This is something that we all should know about as well. Players may designate one individual to be their coach during a match set. So you can change your coaches between match sets, but you have to pick a coach. You have to designate someone as your coach, and I will be asking about this for every set. Players may consult with the coach for a maximum of 1 minute in between matches in a match set. Coaching while a match is in play is not allowed and subject to a match forfeiture. So this is something just to be aware of. You want to consult with somebody, you want to have a coach. Totally legal, totally in the rule set. Button bind, sequence mapping is banned. A player may not program functions of the controller using methods outside the basic functions of the game, including but not limited to programmable and turbo controllers. Not really an issue for the fighting game scene as a whole, but, you know, if someone new comes in and they wanted to play with a turbo controller, that's something that we just have to let them know of. Bugs and glitches. Players are not allowed to exploit known bugs and or glitches. If an administrator determines that a player used a bug or glitch that resulted in unfair advantage, the administrator may decide either to return the game state before the use of the glitch or impose a disciplinary sanction against the player if such use is voluntary. The administrator is the sole authority to determine the voluntary nature of the use of the glitch. If we look, I wonder if they define administrator or if it's just me, tournament group, organized. They don't really list the administrator, which I guess is just going to be the TO on hand. There was the super meter glitch that you could do with like Blue Vegeta before. I don't think that glitch is in the game anymore, but if it were still, and you use this at a Tenkaichi event. So anyways, it counts now. It counts now. It counts now. Equipment, players, check your stuff, pauses, disconnections. Any disconnections initiated by a player will result in the loss of the current round, except if the disconnection is due to a problem with the game. If the disconnection is due to a problem within the game, the current round will be played once more. So again, if there's a disconnection and it's because of the game itself, then you just replay the game. This is for like an online event, right? And like the game just drops the two of you for whatever reason. That's going to be it. This really isn't going to come up in a in-person event that we're going to be having in Colorado. Eligibility requirements. So this is something I'm actually going to go through a little bit because for online play, which a lot more people are going to be interested in because rollback has been announced, but we don't know when we're going to get rollback, and I don't know if it's going to be in time for this particular season of the game. That's going to be the big question mark, right? There are still a few things that we do have to be aware of. Age of the majority in the jurisdiction located under the age of 16. You have permission. Legal residence of this one. Possess a valid form of government identification, etc., etc. In case of online tournament, one or has access to one of the both following gaming platforms. It's a PlayStation 4 or PC. In case of online tournament, owner has access to an internet connection. In case of online tournament, has a wired connection. Wired is required. In case of online, must have a download speed greater than 3 megabytes per second. This will be very easy. Nobody has internet speed this slow that's playing online games. Nobody. But here's one thing that's actually going to be massive, I think, which is going to be in case of online tournament, players must have a ping below 40 milliseconds when connected to a common server chosen by the tournament event organizer. That is actually something fairly massive to consider, that we have to pick the server that we are going to be connecting to, and we got to qualify for it. If you got 41, 42 millisecond ping, it's not under 40 millisecond, and you're not eligible to connect to the tournament, which if we actually pull up like a speedtest.net, for example, right, like a TO can select like a server right now, like I'm connected to this Denver server, right? I hit go. My ping should be about like 9 milliseconds. 10 milliseconds. So we have 10 millisecond ping to this event right now. Let's just refresh the page. And let's say that I wanted to play in a California tournament. Right? So there's like these various things. Let's look for like Los Angeles, right? And let's say they pick, I don't know. I was looking for like a... We'll do Spectrum, right? Let's say they run it in a Spectrum event, right? So what's our ping look like? It's 50. If this is the server that my boy Jake Ryan picks and I try to connect to this, I am not eligible to play in that tournament because I did not have a 40 millisecond or less ping connection to this event. That's what it is. That's just how it be. And this might just be an indicator that we're still playing in a delay-based tournament, right? So this is definitely something that we're just going to have to be, aware of, that this ping requirement is a necessity to play in a particular online tournament, and us TOs are going to have to be responsible for upholding that. So, if the individual who does not meet the eligibility criteria becomes a winner, such player participation will be void, and the player will be deemed ineligible. All applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations apply. Void where prohibited, restricted, or where conducting the tournament would subject the tournament group to any tax, jury, tariff, or any other fee mandated by local law. It gives us some other guidelines for connectivity and whatnot. But that is sort of like the biggest thing that I wanted to point out. The rest of the rules sets are just sort of like mentioning rule sets, disqualification things, some of the events that they already have, some power events, etc., etc. It's that 40 millisecond ping online tournaments that's the biggest thing that I want to shout out to all the other TOs. That if you're running an online event, and we're still living in this delay-based netcode land, that we just have to be aware of this. I tried to connect to an LA server, and I had 50 millisecond ping. I was not eligible to play and compete, for example. That is the video, my friends. Those are just going to be a couple things for us to be expecting going forward for my Colorado events, as well as any other online event that some other people might run in areas. This is just a rule set for y'all to read. Again, check out the link below in the description to go through the rules yourself. These are things to be aware of. If you're planning on running any of these events, follow the rules. This is what it's going to be. CD Mangaka, thank you all so much. Peace out.